Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice. Here we take up MCQs based on important articles and news from the Hindu and the Indian Express newspaper. Topics which we are going to cover today are displayed on your screen. Let's begin the discussion. This article is in news as recently Election Commission recognized AAP as the ninth national party. Now, as you know, Election Commission registers political parties for the purpose of elections and grants them recognition as national or state parties on the basis of their poll performance. Now, the recognition granted by the Commission to the parties determines their right to certain privileges like allocation of the party symbols. Next is provision of time for political broadcast on the state-owned television and radio stations. And the next one is access to electoral rolls. Now, as you know, UPSC has been asking questions based on important constitutional bodies about their powers and function. Like in year 2017, they have asked question based on Election Commission. Now here we have curated practice question based on the same theme. In this question, you have to find out the correct conditions for recognition as a national party. The first statement is if party secures 6% of valid votes polled in any four or more states at a general election to the Lok Sabha or to the Legislative Assembly, and in addition, it wins 4 seats in the Lok Sabha from any state or states. Now, as per the Election Commission Political Parties and Election Symbols 2019 Handbook, a political party would be considered a national party if it secures 6% of valid votes polled in any 4 or more states at a general election to the Lok Sabha and to the Legislative Assembly. In addition, if it wins 4 seats in the Lok Sabha from any state or states. So this statement is correct. Now let's come to the second statement. If party wins 6% of seats in the Lok Sabha at a general election and these candidates are elected from 3 states. Now this statement is incorrect because if party wins 2% of seats in Lok Sabha at a general election and not 6%, and these candidates are elected from the 3 states, then that party would be considered as a national party. Now let's come to the third statement. If it recognized as a state party in 4 states. Now this statement is correct, and because of this only, Election Commission recognized AAP as the ninth national party. So here our correct answer is option C, that is 1 and 3 only. Answer of this PYQ is option D, that is 3 only. Now our next question is based on this article which featured on page number 10 in Hindu newspaper. Now according to this article, a UN investigation has found that at least 131 civilians in the Democratic Republic of Congo died in a November attack by the M23 rebel group, and according to its report, the massacre took place in 2 villages. One is Kishishi and the another one is Bambo in the Rutshuru district of the eastern North Kivu province. And you should also know that for decades the Democratic Republic of Congo has been the scene of one of the world's longest running conflicts, especially its mineral-rich eastern region, has been the battleground for more than 100 armed groups fighting for control of territory here or using it as a base to launch attacks into some of its immediate neighbors. Now, the purpose of picking this article for your prelims examination is that in year 2015, UPSC has asked question about Golan Heights, which has been the center of conflict between Israel and Syria for decades. So war-torn region is important for your prelims examination. Now let's come to the practice question. The area known as Kivu province sometimes appears in the news in the context of the events related to. Now, with the help of map, you can see that Kivu province lies in Central Africa, so our correct answer is option C. It is in the extreme east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Answer of this PYQ is option B. Now, our next question is based on this article which featured on page number 14 in the Hindu newspaper, and according to this article, recently Supreme Court said that the process suggested by the Center for Appointment of Ad hoc Judges in High Court is very cumbersome and emphasized the similar procedure should be adopted so the real objective of their appointment does not get defeated. Now, question based on Indian judiciary is important for your prelims as well as for your mains examination. This question came in year 2021. Now let's come to the practice question. Here you have to find out the incorrect statements with reference to ad hoc judges of Supreme Court. The first statement is President can appoint a judge of a High Court as an ad hoc judge of Supreme Court for a temporary period. Now, as according to Article 127 of the Indian Constitution, when there is a lack of quorum of the permanent judges to hold or continue any session of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of India can appoint a judge of a High Court as an ad hoc judge of the Supreme Court for a temporary period. So, it's not President, it's CJI who can appoint a judge of a High Court as an ad hoc judge of the Supreme Court. So, first statement is incorrect. Now, let's come to the second statement. Constitution makes consultation with the Chief Justice of High Court concern mandatory for such appointments. Now, as per Article 127, Supreme Court judge can do so only after consultation with the Chief Justice of High Court concerned and with the previous consent of the President. So this statement is correct. Now let's come to the third statement. Constitution does not specify any qualification for High Court judges for the purpose of such appointments. Now, Article 127 do specifies the qualification and says that the judge so appointed should be qualified for appointment as a judge of the Supreme Court. So this statement is incorrect. So here we have to find out the incorrect statement. So our answer is option C, that is 1 and 3 only. Answer of this PYQ is option C. Now our next question is based on this article which featured on page number 20 in Indian Express. The context of this article is that National Security Advisor Ajit Doval's meeting with his Central Asia counterparts this month is a part of India's push to widen and deepen ties with countries in the region, that is Central Asia. Now you should know that for India, engagement with Central Asian countries is important because of range of reasons. The first one is security cooperation after the Taliban takeover in Afghanistan. Second one is to counter China's influence in the region. And the third one is plans for connectivity with Europe, including the international North-South transport corridor. And the fourth one is to meet its energy needs. Like Turkmenistan is part of proposed Tabi gas pipeline and for reasons of old cultural links and trade potential. Now map-based question on regions which are in news is important for your prelims examination. This question based on Mediterranean Sea came in year 2015. Now let's come to the practice question. Question says, which of the following countries does not open out to the Caspian Sea? Now with the help of map, you can see that Caspian Sea is world's largest inland body of water. It lies to the east of the Caucasus Mountains and to the west of the vast steppe of Central Asia, and it is bordered by Russia in northwest, Azerbaijan in west, Iran in south, Turkmenistan in southeast, and Kazakhstan in northeast. And you can see Uzbekistan is a landlocked country. So here we have to find out the country which does not open to the Caspian Sea. So our correct answer is option A, that is Uzbekistan, which is a landlocked country. Answer of this PYQ is option B. Now our next question is based on this article which featured on page number 10 in the Hindi newspaper, and this article is about facts about remittances in Migration and Development Brief titled report. Now remittances denotes a sum of money spent by one party to another. These days, the term typically describes the money sent by someone working abroad to their family back home. Why this article is important? As India received $89.4 billion in 2021, and this is the first time a country will reach the $100 billion mark. Now, UPSC has been framing question based on important reports and committees. This question came in year 2016 based on Global Financial Stability Report. Now let's come to the practice question. Here you have to find out the correct statements with respect to Migration and Development Brief titled report. The first statement is it is published by International Monetary Fund. This statement is incorrect as it is published by World Bank and not by IMF. Now let's come to the second statement. Saudi Arabia surpassed the US as India's top source country for remittances. Now, as because of gradual structural shift in Indian migrants, key destination from largely low-skilled informal employment in Gulf Cooperation Council countries to a dominant share of high-skilled jobs in high-income countries such as US, UK, and East Europe. In 2020-21, US, with a share of 23%, surpassed Saudi Arabia as India's top source for remittances. So our second statement is incorrect. So here our correct answer is option D, neither 1 nor 2. Answer of this PYQ is option B. that is International Monetary Fund. Now our last question is based on this article which featured on page number 15 in the Hindu newspaper. The context of this article is that Sri Lanka will resume talks with India on the stalled Economic and Technological Cooperation Agreement, that is ETCA. Now as you know, for your prelims as well as for your mains examination, bilateral, regional and global groupings and agreements involving India and or affecting India's interest is important. Like this question based on bilateral trade agreements came in 2020. Now let's come to the practice question. Here you have to find out the correct statements. The first statement is economic union is one in which members may agree to trade at zero duty among themselves and maintain common tariffs against the rest of the world. Now this statement is incorrect as this information is related to customs union and not economic union. Economic union is a common market extended through further harmonization of all monetary policies and shared executive, judicial, and legislative institutions. So, first statement is incorrect. Now, let's come to the second statement. Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, that is CEPA, has the same components of Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, that is CECA, with an additional focus and options in the terms of trade investments and services. Now, CECA is mainly concerned with tariffs reduction and the elimination of all items that are considered to be listed tariff rate quota items. On the other hand, CEPA has the same components of CECA with an additional focus and options in terms of trade investment and services. So, in a broader picture, CEPA is much broader and more complicated as compared to CECA. So here statement is talking about the same information. So our second statement is correct. So here our correct answer is option B. Answer of this PYQ is option B. That's all for today. Stay tuned for more such updates.